If you are looking for a pay raise, right now is the best time to make that happen for yourself.
Yeah, inflation is on people's minds. Gas prices are at the highest they've been in a decade. So a recent Monster.com survey found that 2 in 5 workers want to be paid for driving to the office. And 42% are working harder to make more money in anticipation of an increased inflation.
Yeah, your biggest bargaining chip for a raise could be new pay transparency laws that go into effect in New York City next month. So joining us to talk about all this is career expert at Monster.com, Vicki Slemy. And Vicki, thanks for being with us again and talking about this all-important issue.
Thanks for having me.
So let's discuss the pay transparency law and how that can actually help people when they're asking for a raise.
Yes, I'm glad you asked that, Tamsin. So in May in New York City, it will be law for employers with 4 or more employees in the private sector to post their salary ranges and job descriptions. So the lowest and the highest, so basically the range. In turn, that could help job seekers as well as employees. It could help job seekers in New York City, but also in Connecticut and New Jersey to see what type of jobs would be similar to theirs and what pay it's commanding.
So speaking of job seekers, you say right now you think employees actually have the upper hand when asking for more money?
They do, Irony, and here's why. Because with the Great Resignation, that continues, and so many people continue to look for and land multiple job offers and jobs. And so it costs companies time, money, and resources to replace you, and they don't want to lose you.
Oh, that's a good thing to keep in mind, right? Well, even if you're not looking for a raise, you think workers should still ask anyway. Why is this right now?
They should, especially with inflation, but it's important to know your worth, to make sure that you're getting paid what you would be getting paid if you worked somewhere else.
So we know talking money is not easy for a lot of people. Let's talk about the hardest part, asking. First, you say do your research. What can people do?
Yes, be prepared. Approach it like you would just a new job externally. Find out what your worth is. Reach out to professional organizations within your industry, former bosses, former colleagues. Again, looking at these new job descriptions coming up in May, but also just determine what your worth is and also outline your accomplishments. What were your achievements? Why should they retain you and pay you that raise?
I mean, it really is about doing your research and all this and believing in yourself at the same time. And both those can, the research might be easier than just really believing in your worth, especially if you're in a job for a while. Well, finally, you say, somebody should talk to the boss. How do you start that conversation up when, you go in and you go, hey, there's something I want to talk to you about? How do you launch into that?
Yeah, such a great question. You could just say, I want to get time on your calendar, try to speak to them in person on phone or video, not Slack or text or email. And you basically say, I want to talk to you about something. I've done this external research, point out what you've discovered, talk about your accomplishments, and just say, can I get more money? Can I get a raise? However you do it, even if you stumble upon the words. I used to work in HR and corporate recruiting, and I've seen, I don't want to say sloppy, but I've seen some smooth asks and some not so smooth asks. What matters is you ask. Just make sure that you get through the words to ask questions.
So true.
Might be easier putting into writing first. So we built up the courage to actually ask. So what should we do when asking? Do we ask for a specific amount or kind of a range?
I've seen both work successfully. So either or, the point is that you want to ask the question. And also what's important, Irony, is to make sure that you follow up. It's a dialogue, not a monologue. So, allow for silence and engagement and read their body language with your boss, but also if your boss says, okay, find out the date, do you need to send an email to HR, copy your boss, find out logistics to follow through, make it happen.
Oh, so important, right? All right, Vicki Slemy, always good to see you, Monster.com. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. I'm sure we'll have plenty more questions as we get a little bit closer to that law going into place and going into effect for a lot of people. Thank you.
Thank you.